The
You have to
story
come with
below is
us.
written as a complete
I can't
cinematic
protect her
YouTube
anymore.
narrative
We
with
can find a way
emotional
together.
pacing and
Ma'am, we
engagement
really have to
moments
move
built
now.
in.
Please, for her sake.
There was something heartbreaking about watching a father eat slowly while pretending he was not hungry. Most people would never notice it. They would see an ordinary man sitting quietly in a cafe with worn-out shoes, slightly tired eyes, and a little girl beside him drawing flowers on napkins with cheap crayons. But pain has a language of its own, and if someone looked carefully enough, they would have seen it hiding behind his smile. Daniel Carter had become an expert at smiling through pain. 3 years earlier, he had a family, a small house, and simple dreams. Nothing extraordinary, nothing luxurious. He worked as a construction engineer and believed life was moving exactly as it should. Then life did what it sometimes does to good people without warning. A rainy night, a drunk driver, flashing ambulance lights, and a phone call that shattered his entire world. His wife Emma never came home. After that night, silence moved into Daniel's life and never fully left. He still remembered standing in a hospital hallway while his 4-year-old daughter Lily slept in his arms, unaware that her mother was gone forever. He remembered feeling something inside him collapse. For months afterward, grief followed him everywhere like a shadow. Bills piled up, work performance dropped. He missed deadlines. Eventually, the company replaced him. They called it business. Daniel called it survival. So he learned to survive. He worked delivery jobs during mornings and warehouse shifts during nights. He slept 3 or 4 hours daily and spent every remaining second raising Lily. Some nights he skipped dinner so Lily could have better meals. Some mornings he lied and said he wasn't hungry because fathers sometimes become magicians, turning sacrifice into invisible acts. Lily never fully understood. She only knew Daddy looked tired. On that particular afternoon, Daniel sat inside a small cafe because Lily had passed a difficult school exam and wanted pancakes. He had counted every dollar in his wallet before entering. He had enough for 1 pancake plate and 1 cup of coffee. The cafe was warm inside. Sunlight slipped through large windows and covered the tables with soft golden light. Lily laughed while drawing tiny hearts and flowers. Daniel watched her quietly. Children had a strange gift. They could carry light into places darkness thought it owned forever. Then the atmosphere changed. People suddenly looked toward the entrance. Sophia Kensington walked in. Everyone knew her face. She was the CEO of one of the largest technology companies in the city. Young, powerful, beautiful, and successful beyond imagination. Business magazines loved her. Investors respected her. People admired her confidence. Behind her walked 2 bodyguards dressed in dark suits. Sophia moved with the kind of confidence money creates. Without noticing Daniel and Lily, she headed toward the reserved seating area. But Lily's crayons suddenly rolled off the table and scattered across the floor. One tiny pink crayon rolled directly beneath Sophia's heel. The moment she stepped on it, her balance shifted. Coffee spilled across her expensive white suit. The cafe fell silent. Daniel immediately stood up. Panic crossed his face. He apologized instantly and bent down to gather the crayons. But Sophia's face hardened. Years of pressure, endless meetings, stress, and anger from her own life suddenly exploded in a single moment. Before anyone could react, her hand moved. The slap echoed across the cafe. Everything stopped. Daniel froze. Lily froze. The entire room froze. Daniel slowly turned back, his cheek burning red. But the pain on his face wasn't anger. It was humiliation. The kind of humiliation people feel when life keeps kicking them after they've already fallen too many times. Lily stared at him with frightened eyes. Then something strange happened. Sophia's bodyguard suddenly stepped forward and looked directly at Daniel. His expression changed completely. His face lost color. His eyes widened. Then he stopped moving, because Daniel had slightly turned his neck during the slap, and beneath his collar was a scar, a long, jagged scar stretching near his shoulder. The bodyguard stared as if he had seen a ghost. 20 years earlier, Michael Hayes had been an 11-year-old child trapped inside a burning apartment building. He still remembered the smoke. He still remembered screaming. He still remembered believing he was going to die, until a young construction worker had climbed through flames to save him. Michael remembered being carried outside while unconscious. He remembered one thing clearly. The man who saved him suffered a deep injury from falling metal during the rescue. The scar. That scar. Michael looked at Daniel with trembling eyes. Memories flooded back. Because Daniel Carter was that man. Years ago, Daniel had nearly died saving a child he didn't know. And today, life had reduced him to being slapped in front of his daughter over spilled coffee. Michael could barely breathe. Slowly, he walked toward Sophia. He whispered something into her ear. Sophia's expression changed immediately. Confusion became shock. Shock became guilt. Then she looked at Daniel again. But this time she truly saw him, not his worn clothes, not his old shoes, not his financial situation. She saw exhaustion. She saw sacrifice. She saw a father holding himself together with invisible threads. Daniel simply picked up Lily's crayons and sat back down. He looked defeated, not because of the slap, but because sometimes life breaks people little by little until they no longer have energy to fight back. Sophia stood frozen. For the first time in years, shame wrapped around her heart because power had made her forget something important. Everyone was fighting battles nobody could see. Over the following days, Daniel expected nothing. He went back to his normal routine: morning deliveries, night shifts, short sleep, repeat. But 1 week later, an unexpected letter arrived. Inside was an invitation for an interview. Daniel stared at it in confusion. It was from Sophia's company. He almost threw it away. Pride told him not to go. But Lily smiled and said maybe good things happen sometimes. So he went. Sophia met him personally. Her eyes carried something different now: humility. She had spent days investigating his life and learning who he really was, learning about Emma, learning about Lily, learning about years of sacrifice, learning about the man who once risked his life to save a stranger. Daniel didn't want sympathy, he wanted dignity. Sophia understood that. Instead of charity, she offered opportunity, a position managing structural projects within her company. Daniel hesitated. Life had disappointed him so many times that hope itself felt dangerous. But slowly he accepted. Days became weeks, weeks became months, and something beautiful started happening. Daniel smiled more. He slept more. Lily laughed more. The dark circles beneath his eyes slowly disappeared. Life didn't suddenly become perfect. Pain doesn't disappear that easily. Daniel still missed Emma every day. Some wounds stay forever. But for the first time in years, he wasn't surviving anymore. He was living. One evening, nearly a year later, Daniel and Lily returned to the same cafe. They sat near the same window, ordered pancakes, shared laughter. Outside, snow slowly covered the streets. Lily looked up at him and asked if Mommy would be happy seeing them now. Daniel looked through the cafe window for a long moment. His eyes became wet. Then he smiled, because he finally knew the answer. Love never really leaves. The people we lose leave pieces of themselves inside us, inside our memories, inside our strength, inside our hearts. Emma had never stopped walking beside them. She was there in Lily's smile. She was there in every sacrifice Daniel made. She was there in every sunrise that gave them another chance. And Daniel realized something beautiful. Sometimes life breaks us not to destroy us, but to make room for something stronger. Sometimes the worst day of your life becomes the first page of a better chapter. And sometimes a scar isn't proof of pain. It's proof that you survived. If this story touched your heart even a little, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs hope today. Before this story ends, leave a comment below and tell us, what is one person in your life whose sacrifice you will never forget? Because somewhere in this world, there are quiet heroes walking around with invisible scars, carrying burdens nobody sees, still choosing kindness after life gave them pain. And maybe, just maybe, one of those heroes is you.